So what if I told you that a janitor could be a way better investor than a Harvard-educated finance executive? I know, it sounds pretty much impossible, right? Well, today we're digging into Morgan Housel's amazing book, The Psychology of Money, to find out why that's not just possible, but why it's the real secret to understanding how wealth actually works.
All right, let's meet our two main players here. On one side, you've got Ronald Reed. This is a guy who spent his entire life fixing cars and sweeping floors. No fancy degree, no finance background whatsoever. And on the other side, Richard Fuscone. We're talking a Harvard MBA, a top executive at Merrill Lynch. He is literally the guy you would expect to be a financial wizard. I mean, the gap between them couldn't be any wider.
So, what happened? Who came out on top? Get this. When Ronald Reed passed away, he left behind a fortune of $8 million. How on earth did he do it? No complicated, secret strategies. He just saved what he could from his small paycheck and patiently, and I mean patiently, invested it in solid blue-chip stocks for decades. He let the power of compounding do all the heavy lifting. The key wasn't being a genius, it was just having the patience to wait.
And the Harvard MBA, the guy who's supposed to know it all, Richard Fuscone, who made a fortune and lived this incredibly lavish lifestyle, declared bankruptcy. In the very same year Ronald Reed's secret fortune was making headlines, Fuscone's giant mansion was being sold off at a foreclosure auction. So how does that even happen?
Well, this brings us to the core idea of the entire book. This is what explains everything. It's not about what you know, it's all about how you act. You see, financial success isn't a hard science like physics, where there are these strict formulas. Nope, it's a soft skill. It's about your behavior, your emotions, and those are way more important than any spreadsheet you could ever build.
Okay, so if behavior is the most important thing, we really have to understand why we behave the way we do with our money. And this brings us to our first huge insight. No one's crazy. I love this subtitle because it just nails it. Our own tiny personal sliver of experience with money, that little slice, completely shapes our entire view of how the financial world works.
I mean, we've all seen it, right? We see people making what look like absolutely terrible financial choices. Buying things they can't afford, taking wild risks, or maybe not investing at all. And it's so easy for us to sit back and judge them, to think they're crazy. But here's the thing the book argues. From their own perspective, nobody is ever crazy. Think of it like this. We're all looking at the exact same financial world, but we're looking through completely different lenses. Lenses that were shaped by our unique pasts. If you grew up poor, your ideas about risk and reward are going to be totally different from someone who grew up wealthy. If you lived through a time of crazy high inflation, you're probably never going to trust keeping cash in the bank. We're all playing the same game, but it's like we're on completely different fields. And here's a perfect, powerful example of what that means. To an outsider, spending your last few dollars on a lottery ticket looks completely irrational. But if you're someone who has very few paths to a better life, that ticket isn't just a piece of paper. It might represent the only tangible hope you can buy for a dramatically different future. What seems crazy to you makes perfect emotional sense to them.
So once you understand that everyone's coming from a different place, it leads to another really counterintuitive idea. It turns out there's a huge difference between the skills you need to get wealthy and the skills you need to stay wealthy. And as the subtitle here says, the secret is not about making brilliant moves. It's about consistently not screwing up. Think about it. To build a fortune, you kind of have to have a certain mindset. You need to be optimistic about the future. You have to be willing to take some big, bold risks. You got to put yourself and your money on the line.
But keeping that wealth, whoa, that takes a completely opposite set of skills. It's all about humility, knowing that the luck and risk that got you there can vanish in a heartbeat. It's about being frugal and having a healthy dose of fear, or as the author calls it, paranoia. You have to shift your whole mindset from playing offense to playing defense. This survival mentality is absolutely everything. Because the real magic in investing, the thing we all hear about, is compounding, where your money starts making its own money. But here's the catch. That magic needs time. Lots and lots of time. And it only works if you can stay in the game long enough for it to happen. You can't let one bad decision wipe you out. You just have to survive. And the key to survival isn't being perfect, it's just being consistent. And that leads to this really practical piece of advice.
You are not a spreadsheet. You're a human being who has emotions. So stop trying to be perfectly rational with your money. Aiming to just be reasonable works so much better because it's a strategy you can actually stick with for the long haul.
And this is where the psychology really hits home. Saving money isn't just a math problem, is it? It's an internal battle with your own ego. That urge to buy nice things, to show people we're doing well, to keep up with the Joneses, it's incredibly powerful. But if you can detach from that, if you can care less about what others think, you'll find you naturally just desire less. And that means you can save more without it ever feeling like a sacrifice.
So often, we think we need to be saving for something specific. You know, I'm saving for a house, or I'm saving for a new car. But the book argues one of the most powerful things you can do is just save for the sake of saving. What you're really doing is building a buffer against all of life's inevitable surprises. You're giving yourself flexibility and options. You're making your financial life less fragile. You're saving for a future you can't even predict yet.
All of this builds up to a final, really profound question. If wealth isn't the fancy car or the big house or some number in your bank account, then what is it? What's the highest form of wealth that we should actually be aiming for? And the answer is so beautifully simple, and it's really the ultimate point of the entire book. The highest form of wealth is the ability to control your own time. It's freedom. That's the ultimate dividend that money pays you.
So what does that actually feel like in real life? It's waking up and having the choice to say, you know what? I can do whatever I want with my day-to-day. It's having a big enough financial cushion that you can leave a job you hate or just wait for the right opportunity to come along. It's being able to handle a medical emergency without the extra soul-crushing stress of financial ruin. That level of control, that autonomy, that is the real prize. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Don't just think about how to get more money. Think about what that money is actually for. If you had complete and total control over your time, what would you do with that freedom? Answering that question honestly, well, it might just change how you think about money forever.